Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner, good to have you here. When you were here for your confirmation, I asked you about the 501c3, 501c4 reporting problem. As you know, a lot of these organizations report that they have nothing to do with politics when they file with the IRS, consistent with IRS regulations. And then they turn up in election filings at the federal and state level with multi-tens of millions of dollars claimed in filing in spending in political races. That would seem to be a pretty flagrant predicate for a false statement investigation. And yet we have a failure in the government between your organization and the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice won't look at these flagrant, obvious, predicated false statement concerns without a referral from the IRS. I have a separate problem with the Department of Justice over that policy, which I think is idiotic. But setting their problems aside, at the IRS side, have you made any referrals since you've been here for any of these discrepancies in reporting out of 501c3s and particularly 501c4s?
I don't have that data, but I will get you that data. But I will say that...
Would you mind telling me when? Because I have a very long record of executive agencies saying that they'll get me things and then never doing it.
We'll let you know this week when we know, and
Great. Thank
our
you.
office will be back to you. But people should not assume that we're not doing something just because it's not visible.
Okay, well, that's why I want to find out. Because I think this referral policy is a mutually agreeable situation between DOJ and IRS where powerful special interests get to get away with things, and neither organization has to deal with any backlash because you don't make referrals and they demand referrals. And to me, that's just not appropriate when you're seeing public reporting showing what seems to be really strong predication for a false statement case, because both of these statements are filed under oath and both are different. And it's hard to see how both can be true. Onto the Treasury IG for Tax Administration report. The IG says that wealthy taxpayers are paying 39% of what they owe, that $2.4 billion in revenue is lost to the federal government as a result, that this is not a collection priority for your collection folks, that there is no strategy to address non-payment by high-income taxpayers, and the Treasury IG for Tax Administration made a number of recommendations, and you rejected 5 of them. Can you tell me why?
I think, one, I disagree with their report entirely, and I'm more than willing to have a discussion with you separately about that or anybody else with respect to sometimes what might be in those reports. But I would draw your attention to the management report there, and I think that the statement that high-income non-filers are not a priority is absolutely false.
All right, well, I'd love to see that because you're the first person who has
I'll meet with you personally and
that.
walk through it, and I'll bring our team. And we'll
Great. No, I'd love to see some evidence of that because all the evidence seems to be the exact opposite way, that you're more likely to get audited if you get an earned income tax credit
That's
as a
false.
very poor person
That's
than
false.
you are to be audited if you're a very wealthy person surrounded by
2019
lawyers.
data book, page 34, table 17A. High-income taxpayers are audited more than any other taxpayer there, over 8% of the people over $10 million. And EITC folks, it's 1.12%. And those are actually hard statistics.
Great.
We're about ready to issue the
I want to get to the bottom
2020
of
data
this
book.
with you.
And I'm more than willing to come and sit with you on that as well, sir.
Last topic is that Congress, on a bipartisan basis, much thanks to the leadership of Senator Crapo, the ranking member on this committee, passed a new law obliging shell corporations to report their true beneficial owner to FinCEN at Treasury so that we can look behind the screen of these corporations and see what criminals, tax evaders, foreign kleptocrats, and other evildoers are up to using the American corporate shield as their device. Could you give us, in my last minute here, an overview of what you are doing to implement that new law?
We have teams that when legislation passes, they do it, but the real implementation happens in the trenches. It's our frontline employees. So training the employees on new legislation and having them go seek. Our struggle, as aware, is our frontline agents, which are the examiners, revenue agents, who are our most highly capable employees. We only have 6,500 of them, and they are fully deployed in the high wealth context. In terms of organizations and nonprofits, that's tax-exempt government entities, and I think the committee is aware that our Deputy Commissioner of Services and Enforcement, Sunita Lowe, just moved over to TEGE. She has a strong history with TEGE. She was formerly commissioner in TEGE, and I would encourage you to invite us up for briefings in that space.
All right. So it sounds like at this point, the implementation is primarily in the training of frontline.
No, I wouldn't say that. It takes us a while to train, but it's not just in the training. It's in the front
So
lines.
what else? For instance, have you got a link of some kind with FinCEN so that you can make appropriate requests when this bumps into your
I will
IRS
have
radar?
somebody brief you on exactly what's happened there. That's not something that I'm directly involved in, as you're aware.
That ends my questioning and my time, but Mr. Chairman and Mr. Ranking Member, this may be something that, given the bipartisan support and interest in this committee in getting this shell corporation problem solved, should perhaps be done as a committee-wide briefing so that everybody has the chance to understand what's going on to enforce the law that we passed. I'm happy to take the briefing myself, but I think it's probably going to be of interest to a great many of our members.